second guessing. No second guessing. This is the dark house. Time to face the sound. Welcome to the dark house, where the strong survive. We're tearing down the walls, no compromise. No filter, no mercy, just a cold hard truth. We're the ones who fight, and we're ready for you. When the truth's forever, we're breaking down the doors, no more shadows in the dark house. It's all or nothing, we're here to fight, no bluffing, no running. Locked and loaded, the truth's forever, we're breaking down the doors, no more shadows in the dark house. It's all or nothing, we're here to fight, no bluffing, no running. We don't back down, we stand our ground in the dark house, where the real are found. No change, no fear, just pure aggression. We're here to win, no second guessing. No second guessing. This is the dark house, time to face the sound. This is the dark house, time to face the sound. This is the dark house, time to face the sound. We don't back down, we stand our ground in the doghouse, where the real are found. No chains, no fear, just pure aggression. We're here to win, no second guessing. This is the doghouse, time to face the sound. Where the strong survive, we're tearing down the walls, no compromise. No filter, no mercy, just a cold hard truth. We're the ones who bite, and we're waiting for you. Welcome to the dark house, where the strong survive. We're tearing down the walls, no compromise. No filter, no mercy, just a cold hard truth. We're the ones who bite, and we're ready for you. Welcome to the dark house, where the strong survive. We're tearing down the walls, no compromise. No filter, no mercy, just a cold hard truth. We're the ones who fight, and we're ready for you. Locked and loaded, the truth's forever. We're breaking down the doors, no more shadows in the dark house. It's all or nothing, we're here to fight, no bluffing, no running. Locked and loaded, the truth's forever. We're breaking down the doors, no more shadows in the dark house. It's all or nothing, we're here to fight, no bluffing, no running. No running, no bluffing, no running. No running, no running, no running.
To rumble. We started a little early. I gotta turn that timer down, guys. I hope everyone. There he goes. Okay. Hope everybody's ready. Hope everybody's had a great weekend. Shout out to Miss Mandy over there in the chat for everybody at YouTube. I see Miss Mandy brought the crew. Thank you so much, Miss Mandy. You are awesome. We are streaming right now on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Kick, you name it. We're on it. That's how we do it. But it's going to be awesome. We got a great show planned. I got a whole lot of stories lined up. A whole lot of stuff went on over this past weekend. You know, MAGA revealed their true colors yesterday. I'm just saying, okay? Anybody watch the Super Bowl? Just saying, the refs didn't win. Kansas City didn't win. Those birds did. That's who won. And I say that as someone who is a Texan fan. I'm glad that the birds won. Not really a huge Philly fan, given the fact that I am an Astro fan as well. Don't really like when Philly wins there, but you know, hey, take what you can. So really cool, exciting show, guys. We're gonna be talking about the Super Bowl halftime show. We're gonna be talking about a little bit of corruption going on at the federal government. We're gonna talk about ignoring court orders. We're gonna be talking about all that beautiful stuff. Welcome in, guys. First of all, huge shout out to Department of Education. Welcome in, buddy. Ken Reaper, and True Crime Hustle. I recognize all you guys based on the name True Crime Hustle. I would imagine you're coming from Miss Mandy's crew. Thank you, Miss Mandy. Kansas City got cooked. Absolutely, man. They didn't just get... This is the thing about it. Kansas City didn't just lose. They lost. And I mean by a lot. I mean, this is the thing. Throughout the entire season, they ended up losing by like a few points. This was a blowout. I don't know what happened to Kansas City, but they just froze. So, yeah. Weird. Yeah, you can see your chat, Cadence. I'm from Washington. Nice. Yeah, you're going to be able to see your chat right over here. That's where you're going to be able to see it. And also, you should be able to see it. Oh, wait, you're on YouTube. Then you're going to see it on here. Let me shrink it a little bit. Let me adjust the vertical output. There you go. It's kind of weird, a little wonky. I need to adjust it. Because I do stream vertical on my YouTube streams. This should work. I'm not going to worry too much about it. But anyways, there you go. Do you remember McDonald's sell the Lego Batman toys when they had the game? No, I don't remember that. I kind of grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s. It was actually prime McDonald's toys, to be honest with you. Prime McDonald's toys was early 2000s, I'm just saying. Some people, if you're born like the 80s, you're like, the 90s. Nah, late 90s, early 2000s had some awesome ones. So back when McDonald's wanted to actually like put some good money into it, now you got like this little tiny square toy, and it's ridiculous. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive right on into the news. We got a lot to go on to here. Let's go in and dive into our first one, which is Le Super Bowl. Let's talk about the Super Bowl, guys. So that performance triggered a lot of MAGA. Now, did I used to play one of the Rams games? No, I did not. I did not play the Ravens games. I remember my friends played it. I was just not a big fan of it. I was more into like the Medal of Honor and things like that back on the PS2. All right, so let's talk about this story here. Super Bowl halftime show triggered a lot of MAGA. It was not very... a lot of MAGA did not really like what they saw. They said it was one of the worst ones ever. I think Kendrick Lamar was amazing. I really do. Do I think he was better than, Eminem and Dre and 50 Cent? No. Right? But do I think that he was one of the worst performances? No. I think he was easily top 10, top 15. There was a lot of hidden symbolism and things like that in there, but it did not stop MAGA from shouting DEI. And I'll let you guys fill out why. I mean, this is not unheard of. Anytime that there is somebody up there that... Now, the music was a little loud, so hearing that was kind of... Yo, Miss Mandy. Thank you for the biddies. I appreciate it. It was a little loud, so it's hard to hear the lyrics, but if you actually turn on the subtitles, you can totally hear it. And even then, that's really an excuse. I think there's a lot of people that... hold on one second. My dog was going to the bathroom. I had to take care of that. All right. So, back to the story. So anyways, Super Bowl halftime came on. I thought it was great. There was a diss in there about Drake. I thought it was awesome. But MAGA took to Twitter, and we see here Benny Johnson saying, "Hi, this is not music. This is some loser mumbling. There is nothing artistic or redeeming about this. NFL, stop behaving like Americans like this." Americans do like this, Benny. Actually, they like it a lot. It kind of is, Miss Mandy. It's kind of like an open call, but we'll kind of call in people throughout. We'll take call-ins later on, possibly. I put call-ins in there because they are welcomed. I probably should revise the title a little bit, but yes, they are welcomed. I do remember playing the Wii, Adrian. All right, so We're gonna get to the story. I promise. We're gonna get to the story. Okay. Y'all keep chatting. I'm gonna read y'all's chat off to the side in a minute. So, Benny wants to sit there and say this is not music. No, this is absolutely music. This is art. That's exactly what Kendrick Lamar, and one of the reasons why Kendrick Lamar won, I believe it was like 4 or 5 Grammys in one night. It was insane. He just doesn't like the fact that this is, well, I'll let you fill it in. We also saw people like, him saying that the halftime show should have been the Village People with President Trump doing the Trump dance center stage. And Arena would have gone berserker mode. Would have been the most viral halftime show in NFL history. Read the room, NFL. Share if you agree. I disagree. I think this is cringe. If you think that the YMCA people would have been far better than Kendrick Lamar, what would the YMCA people have done? Got up there, that YMCA. They're going to do that one time? Why is it that these MAGA... See, this is why we say MAGA is a cult, guys. Listen, I know you do, Miss Maine. That's okay. Listen, I know there's going to be a lot of MAGA in my chat. I know that. But... I'm not saying by the way, I'm not saying you're MAGA, Miss Mandy, by the way. I'm just saying, I know I got a lot of MAGA, I might have a lot of MAGA coming in here. But what are you going to do with this, right? What, YMCA 15 times? I think Kendrick Lamar did it perfectly. There were guests there. There was Serena Williams. I forgot the other person's name, but she was up there singing. It was perfect. And there was a diss for Drake, and there was symbolism about how the country is going in the wrong direction and things like that. What does this symbolize? YMCA? Because y'all like Trump? You like the YMCA? Come on now. And we saw, people like this by Jack Poso saying, this is what a real halftime show looks like. I'll let you fill in the blanks there. And of course, it didn't leave him. He really wanted to sit there and say, DEI halftime show. MAGA can't stand this stuff. Although I don't believe I even really heard them freak out when Dre and 50 Cent and all them did this. I don't believe I saw them freak out about that. And here's Ben Shapiro. Good old Ben. Ben. My halftime show review. Actually, it's a beautiful voice and a beautiful accent. Beautiful accent. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Beautiful accent? The only problem is I can't understand a word you're saying, but I just say this. Good luck, live in peace. Almost like they kind of have the same message. Almost like MAGA has to follow a particular script. Notice how they all have the near same message. We have Matt Walsh. This is easily the worst halftime show I've ever seen. Provide me one large content creator on the right that goes a little bit off course from this message. This is where the left needs to get on board. This is why the left needs to absolutely take notes as to what we're seeing from the Super Bowl. The left needs to understand that there is a unified message on the right all throughout online. The problem is that, I'm going to be honest with you, the left is much more diverse, and that's okay. But it's also a downfall. Okay? The problem with this is that the left doesn't, they have so many different ideologies that the left doesn't ever get their messaging together. Whereas when the right, it was almost like they're in the back room saying, okay, what's the game plan? All right, we're going to go left, 42, 5, 7, hut. And then they go out on the social media ecosphere, and then they just put out this message. But where does the left do this? The left doesn't do this. Now, to be clear, I think these people are just patently wrong. I think these people are just absolutely patently wrong to sit there and assume that the Super Bowl halftime show was terrible or the worst of all time. The worst of all time? No, it's not. It's not the worst of all time. Y'all only think it's the worst of all time because of the message that Kendrick Lamar was sending that you guys did not approve of. You guys can't look at. I'm gonna call like a spade a spade. You guys can't handle the rap. It's the whole reason why Ben Shapiro went after Cardi B about WAP, and I'll let you look into what that was. You can find it. It's very viral. They can't stand this kind of music. It's the whole reason that Donald Trump is going through and sending executive order for what's happening in South Africa. And what's happening in South Africa is absolutely an abomination. Don't get it twisted. But it's interesting he focuses on one country in that entire continent and not the rest of the continent that's in absolute poverty. In fact, he froze aid for international affairs to a continent that probably needs it the most. But he gave an executive order to provide more focus on the South Africa. I wonder why that is. I'll let you fill in the blanks on why that might be. True crime. Thank you. I forgot about that problem sub. Hey, no problem. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. They did the Jeep instead of Pepsi. Yeah. Do you mean Neil Diamond the musical? Candace Owens and I approve. Adrian, I'm not sure if you're talking about what you're talking about on that one, but yeah, I know that. Listen, you're probably going a little bit outside of my age group here. I know who Neil Diamond is. I don't know the musical or the reference there. Candace Owens did not approve. Yeah. Are you saying? Oh, Miss Mandy, you're saying? Yeah. I mean, look, it's just one after the other of all of these different content creators getting on one unified message, and they don't seem to really differ from that. They don't go outside the lines on it, and it's really just crazy to me. And I think there's a very good reason why. The other one that we have here is don't know if you guys saw this clip. This clip is hard to watch. Hard to watch, guys. Okay. It didn't leave Donald Trump. Donald Trump absolutely mentioned a few words about Taylor Swift, and we'll get into this. But yeah, Taylor Swift was booed at the Super Bowl. And watch her reaction to this. Let's watch her reaction to this. She said, what? Yeah. They didn't really like that too much. And it didn't stop Donald Trump from going in on Taylor Swift. Donald Trump went on Truth Social saying the only one that had a tougher night than Kansas City Chiefs was Taylor Swift. She got booed out of the stadium. MAGA is very unforgiving. What might he be referring to? For anybody who watched the election very closely, you might remember when this happened. When Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris. And Donald Trump was not too happy because Donald Trump demands utmost loyalty. And without that loyalty, you will be abandoned on the side of the road. Yes, I just did a British accent, even though I'm from Texas. Good old Texas. So, this is what we saw as Taylor Swift get booed and Donald Trump taking advantage of it and upset because Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris. He was so upset he didn't get the Taylor Swift endorsement. It's wild to me. And we'll get to the Trump loyalty a little later on where we're talking about Mayor Eric Adams. We'll get to that. Exactly, Winner. There are so many better reasons to boo Taylor Swift. But this is Trump. Trump has an ego. Trump demands loyalty, guys. Okay? Expected it was 3-1 Eagles fans and Chiefs fans at the Super Bowl. Yeah, probably. I mean, look. Not a big Swiftie myself. I know there's some songs that are okay. They're kind of catchy. And I get it too. Listen, they might have been booing her because of her political affiliation. Or they could have been booing her, which I know Philadelphia Eagles fans get a little rowdy. So I think that might have had something to do with it too. And Philly fans kind of going after it. But yeah. But here's the thing about this, right? That I think is the most craziest thing about this is when Donald Trump was upset about the Taylor Swift thing. By the way, keep in mind, Donald Trump left after right after the halftime show. Okay, but let's take a look back in time. Let's go back to 2017 when Donald Trump made a few remarks about...
Wouldn't you love to see one of these?
A certain Colin Kaepernick. Remember when MAGA and Republicans wanted to leave politics out of football? Leave them out. Now Donald Trump is going to a football game. But anyways, let's take a listen to what Donald Trump had to say about Colin Kaepernick.
These NFL owners, when somebody disrespects...
Might I also mention, too, this was 2017, just a mere, 8 years ago? And look how much younger Donald Trump looks in just 8 years. Now, keep in mind, it's very known that as presidents go through office, they tend to age a little bit. But my goodness, that man is aged. All right.
Our flag to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now. Out. He's fired. He's fired.
Now, NFL Commissioner...
So, we saw that with Donald Trump. And now here it is now. Now, all of a sudden, MAGA is excited. You know, MAGA is excited. We've got politics in football, even though I argued against it 7 years ago. Politics is back in football, baby, and we love it. Why do we love it? Because we're a cult. That's why. They're excited about it now. Look at this. They're saying Trump gets massive cheers at the Super Bowl while Taylor Swift gets booed. Why? In fact, the question of whether or not Donald Trump got cheers, let's take it from another angle. Let's take it from another angle of looking at what happened with Donald Trump. Let's take it from another angle. Let's listen in here. I believe I might have heard something like, what was that? So now, to be fair, on this video, I can't tell. It seems a little too clear to be booing. I'll be fair on that. There could be some audio overlay on that. But either way, there was that other one that sounded much more cleaner, much more kind of realistic. And it's clear that Donald Trump did get booed. To what extent, who knows? So yes, he did have some things like that. Make America orange again. Yes, Miss Mandy. Actually, I will say his makeup has gotten significantly darker as he's gotten older. It's quite fascinating. Thank you, Kendrick. Beautiful performance and no political message. I love this rap music. That's what they call it. Winter, do you remember watching Mixel's Orange Man Bad, Orange Man Bad? All right, so we're gonna switch gears a little bit here. Away from the Super Bowl. My final take on this on the Super Bowl is like, look, here's the thing. Give me 1 second, guys. I gotta take this phone call. Hold on. Sorry about that. I had a phone call from my dad, and when he calls me, y'all ever have that family member where when someone calls, you're like, whoa, why are they calling? Don't like that. Typically, my dad's that way. My dad does not normally call me, and then when I put it to voicemail, he called again. So, all right. So, Donald Trump, let me go ahead and close this out real quick. Make sure I don't have to come back to it. All right, let's switch gears here. We're going to talk now about Donald Trump's immigration policy. No, everything. Okay, so sorry. Yes, everything's good, guys. My dad was just calling because they're doing like a party and he wants to get shirts together. He called me a second time and it freaked me out. That's why I was like, "What's going on?" He's like, "No, I was just trying to give you a call." I'm like, "That nothing's going on." No, okay. Freaked me out when my dad calls me, but we're good. Everything's good. Appreciate your concerns, Winner. Okay, so let's switch gears here. We're going to talk about immigration for a minute. A federal court, by the way, courts have been going nuts with these orders, and we're going to get into them today as well. A federal court blocked Trump's admin from sending detained Venezuelan immigrants to Guantanamo Bay. Here's the thing about this. Kristi Noem refused to rule out detaining women and children at Guantanamo Bay as part of the deportation sweep. This is the problem we're having with this immigration mass deportation policy, is that we're not quite sure who's getting swept up. We don't really know, what the numbers are, quite frankly, other than what they tell us. And what I mean by they, I don't mean like Customs and Border Protection no, it's what the press secretary puts out, right? We don't really know. And for Kristi Noem, who's Secretary of Homeland Security, sits there and says, hey, look, I can't rule out that we're going to send women and children to Guantanamo Bay. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Fortunately, we had the federal judge block that. We also had the federal court, we also see here that, okay, so we'll go on this one in a minute. So yeah, we really need to know what it is that was being detained there. We've seen them loading up migrants onto a cargo plane, and there's like 5 migrants. A cargo plane that can hold like 50 people. Like, it's insane how big these cargo planes, and they load up like 5 people. It's theatrics. It's a Madagascar plane all over again. Even Gitmo doesn't have enough space, and when it becomes too expensive to build more space, yeah. No, you're 100% right, Winner, is they are trying to take all of these people, send them to Guantanamo Bay, and why are they sending them to Guantanamo Bay? I mean, I don't know, and I'm asking, why are they sending them to Guantanamo Bay? Right? There's not going to be any transparency. The same administration that's preaching transparency, the same administration that's screaming from the rafters about how we need transparency, is not providing any transparency whatsoever. But that's not all. Let's talk about FEMA for a second. Good old Kristi Noem, right? We were just talking about her. Said that she's in favor of getting rid of FEMA the way it exists today. What might that look like? Well, according to Donald Trump, FEMA is going to be a whole big discussion very shortly, because I'd rather see the states take care of their own problems. Keep in mind, and Miss Mandy, I know this is going to hit a little bit home because I know you were affected by the hurricane. We know just how devastating these hurricanes are. We know just how much money is needed to recover. I believe Hurricane Helene, which was the one that came through North Carolina, ended up seeing nearly $2 billion worth of damage. I think it's up to north of that number. It's somewhere around that number that the federal government had to subsidize local governments for. $2 billion. Now imagine that burden being put onto the states. Now you might ask, which states would be most affected and who receives the most amount of FEMA funds? I'm glad you asked. I've got that answer right here. Where FEMA's direct relief money is going, you can see here that Florida received $2.5 billion in FEMA payments. Here's Texas, $2.1 billion. And Louisiana, that received $2.4 billion. And to be clear, this was from October of 2024. This data and this total is from January of 2015 to April of 2024. Now, of course, some of these are going to be a little bit stretched out because of some of the most hurricanes that came through here between these two periods. But some of these other states are still highly affected. We can look at North Carolina, where they've got $238 million that they have received from FEMA. Now, when FEMA's gone, I would imagine they're still going to try to provide some kind of aid. But guess what's going to have to happen? It's not the executive branch that holds to the purse strings. No, it's Congress. That means if the federal government wants to provide some kind of funding to your state, they're going to have to go through Congress to then provide you that immediate relief. And how slow is Congress, guys? Pretty slow, right? Not fast. Okay? So that's what's going to happen here. And Donald Trump wants to get rid of FEMA and leave it up to the states. Red states here, guys. Look at these. These are deep red states. And you can see right here, Alabama's received $143 million. That's going to be the states. Now, keep in mind, Donald Trump wants to get rid of the Department of Education. There's so many things that are happening right now when it comes to the federal government that what they're trying to do is they're trying to essentially strip the federal government and push it down to the states. You may not see it, Department of Education. You may not notice it, but think about this. They've been laying off workers because here's the thing. Certain government agencies operate independent of the executive branch. One of those is USAID, right? USAID was created via an executive order because of a particular act that I can't remember. But shortly thereafter, around the 90s, Congress passed legislation to make USAID an independent federal agency, which means it is only beholden to Congress. And there are numerous other ones, like the CIA, for example, is an independent federal agency. So what is happening is Donald Trump is trying to do what he can to lay off these employees. Why? To essentially render these departments useless. You can't have a department run efficiently if there's not enough people there to make it run efficiently, right? If you got that one guy there let's say you had an accounting team of 10 people and now you got one person. That ain't going to work. So he's essentially trying to cripple this particular industry or this particular government department. So anyways, you're going to see numerous pushes to move departments down to the states and let the states handle their decisions, right? But this is the issue, right? Is that we're going to have a lot of states that just can't afford it. We already know that I believe it's Texas, or Mississippi, or Oklahoma, one of the two, that rely very heavily on the government to begin with, whether it's FEMA, whether it's education, whether it's whatever. Okay. So getting rid of it is not going to help these states, and these red states are going to be screaming for help. I promise you, they're going to be screaming for help. Here's the other one. We talk about corruption and the push towards authoritarianism. Let's take a look at a story here I'll tell you guys about yesterday and what happened yesterday. Federal judges have been working in overtime, guys. There have been numerous lawsuits regarding the people that have been laid off, the people that have been told to go remote, the access in which Elon Musk is able to operate in these governments. And this is just another glaring example. A federal judge blocked Elon Musk's Doge access to critical treasury payment system. This has been a big issue as to whether or not Elon Musk has read-only or read-write access. Read-only access is still concerning. I don't understand why MAGA has gotten into this, that they think that read-only is somehow better than read-write. Read-only is still scary. Imagine being like, hey, look, you know what? Those hackers, they didn't copy my information, doing control copy, but they were able to see my information, so it's all good. They're only able to see my information. Keep in mind, MAGA was complaining only a few years ago in Congress about Facebook's access to our data. They complained about Facebook's access to our data. Facebook. Section 230 ring a bell? That too. And here it is now. They're like, MAGA's like, hey, it's Elon Musk. I trust Elon. I trust his freshly out of college Doge employees, which don't have any credentials to do any kind of an audit or anything like that. Keep in mind, Elon Musk has at most a bachelor's degree in economics. Elon Musk doesn't even have a CPA, a bachelor's in accounting, an MBA, a certified forensic accountant certification. He has none of those. Yet he's auditing the entire government and moving from department to department to department to department. Here's what's really going on is they're using AI to sit there, scan all of these programs and look for keywords like DEI, right? The DEI words. And what's worse is he's reporting this stuff as quickly as he can. But let's get back to the story. So when the federal judge blocked this, it upset MAGA because the federal judge got in the way of Daddy Musk. And here's Marjorie Taylor Greene. We need to impeach rogue judges. We need to impeach rogue judges. Remember that thing they cried about? That thing called lawfare? Remember what they cried about? And now they want to impeach rogue judges? Now, to be clear, we all know why she's saying rogue judges, because to her, rogue judges are people who rule against their agenda. But that's okay, guys. It's just Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? She's just a representative. Except we have J.D. Vance. If a judge tried to tell a general how to conduct a military operation, that would be illegal. If a judge tried to command the attorney general and how to use her discretion as a prosecutor, that's also illegal. Judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power. Judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power. How do we determine the legitimate power? We determine that through the courts. If you do not like the ruling, guess what? There is a process by which you do that, and it's called appeal. But J.D. Vance instead wants to go in there and say that essentially this judge is a rogue judge trying to limit Donald Trump's power. Now, if that's not enough, we now have Stephen Miller. Hey, Pete. So Pete Buttigieg said, in America, decisions about what is legal and illegal are made by courts of law, not by the vice president. And this is in reference to J.D. Vance. Okay? And Stephen Miller didn't like that. For anybody who's unaware, Stephen Miller is essentially Trump's propaganda arm. Okay? He goes out there and does these press conferences and press briefings and things like that to try to drum up some support for Donald Trump. Right? You kind of need that when you got Donald Trump saying a whole bunch of wild things. Hey, Pete, care to show us the line in the Constitution where it says alone unelected district judge, which, by the way, funny how he plays this unelected district judge. Keep in mind, a district judge is appointed and approved through Congress. So, yeah, you don't vote for that district judge at the ballot box per se. But you do go there and you vote for the man who's going to put these district judges in place. Unlike Elon Musk, who is also an unelected bureaucrat who reports to no one but the president. Elon Musk doesn't sit there. Elon Musk doesn't have to go to Congress and get approval for certain things. No, he's an unelected bureaucrat. Where it says a lone elected district judge can assume decision-making control over the entire executive branch affecting 300 million citizens, any mention of a nationwide district court, temporary restraining order, or permanent all-powerful bureaucracy? Stephen Miller doesn't like when the federal judge steps in and tells Donald Trump, whoa, man, slow down. Listen, I don't like to sit here and do the whole fear-mongering thing. But this is where we've come. We've already seen Donald Trump try and strip away. And this is the thing that gets me is I've watched a lot of people sit there and they try to rationalize. Yes, Miss Minnie, you can come in just a minute. I'll make sure before we move on because I know you're big into this legal thing. Yeah, you can absolutely come in here. I have seen MAGA say, well, look, we have... How can he be trying to consolidate power if he's removing these agencies? Well, it's quite simple. A lot of these agents are independent federal agencies, which means they work independent of the executive branch, and they only are beholden to Congress. So my concern here is him removing these people from these positions. We already saw him get rid of the IGs. I know it seems like forever ago. The inspector generals. He wants to remove a lot of federal employees. He tried doing that order to pay them through September 30th. And we saw how well that worked. And we saw Donald Trump Jr. get in on this. Why would anyone in government not committing fraud be against transparency and audits? The American people simply want to know where their tax dollars are going. Audit it all. I want you guys to keep in mind, we went over this last week with USAID. USAID, if anybody wants to see where their tax dollars are going, they have been able to do this since 2014. They've been able to do this since 2014. But all of a sudden, MAGA has discovered this new shiny tool, and they're going in there and they're digging through it and they're trying to find things. But here's the thing. Not all of them are. Many of them are going to Twitter. They're just seeing a little list that's put out by Elon Musk, Daddy Musk, or any other conservative pundit. And they're saying, see, look, we're spending $20 million in Venezuela. And you go, well, what are you spending $20 million in Venezuela for? Oh, I don't know. I just know we're spending $20 million. And you push them and you go, where are you getting this from? And they go, I'm like, you get it from Twitter? You get it from Facebook? No. And where'd you get it from? And they hope that someone comes into that conversation and shifts the conversation away from them. But the reality is that when you dig into these programs, you find that more times than not, there's more than meets the eye. Now, to be clear, there's a lot of misrepresentation here. So they do a couple of different tactics. One of them is that they are going to combine the total amount of the grants that are given to this organization. They may sit there and say, $100 million has gone to Sesame Workshop. That's not entirely true. That's the total amount of all those grants that have been given to Sesame Workshop. And with that, only maybe 20,000 has been actually given. Okay, there is a certain amount. I have to look at the correct terminology because I'm blanking for it right now. But there's a certain amount that is allotted. They're allotted $20 million. And over the course of 10 years or whatever that term is of that grant, they will be given a certain amount each month. I think it's outlaid. I think outlaid is when they give the money back. And so the U.S. government slowly doles this money out. So be on the lookout for that because there are individual grants and it'll say $20 million is how much has been allocated for this particular grant, but they've only paid $473,000. Now, to be clear, this took place under Donald Trump as well. This is not unique to the Joe Biden administration. There are several contracts that you can find on usaspending.gov where there's a controversial spending program that the actual grant was given under the Trump administration. But they're not going to talk about that. They want it to be a Democrat issue, not a Republican issue. So, Mandy, if you want to come on up here, we can certainly talk about this. And while I'm waiting on you, I'm going to go ahead and throw myself into the live room. We're all going to come in there. Hold on one second. Okay. Hold on one second. For some reason, my speakers are kind of Looking a little funny. There we go. Hey, Miss Mandy, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I sure can. All right, awesome. So let me go back to one camera real quick. All right. How you been, Miss Mandy? I haven't talked to you in a minute.
I'm doing good.
Good. Let me try to set up this scene real quick because I don't have you up here. Let me see. Panel screen? Yeah.
I'm up here.
Let me go. Here. I can do something real quick. Let's do this. Pop this out. And then what I can do is just do a window capture real quick. Window capture. Should have had this already ready to go. Discord. Out of news source.
I didn't know that about
There we go.
George Bush. He's loved in Africa. That's kind of cool.
All right.
I didn't think anybody really loved George Bush, but that's cool.
So, Miss Mandy, how have you been?
Good. Working a lot, which is a good thing.
It's always good to work, right? First of all, I want to ask you, how are you doing over there in North Carolina? I know you had some issues with good old. Oh, I got my YouTube live looking a little funny. Oopsies. It's only gonna be me and you in here, anyways.
Yeah, still got some cleanup to do.
Oh man, from the hurricane. Oh, you froze for a second. What was that? I can't hear you, Miss Mandy. Like it cracked out. Oh.
Better?
It is better. Yep. All right, there we go. Let's put this overlay here. Oop. Nope, I can't hear anything. Nothing. I'm trying to make sure I get rid of my chat box real quick. Where is it? I'll have to fix this for sure. That's not it. There we go. All right. So while we're waiting on Miss Mandy, she'll come back in here. I think she just has to set up her stuff. She'll be in here. There she goes. Can you hear me now? Mic's muted now.
Yeah, I knew that.
Okay, cool.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. I get it. Totally get it.
So we need a roof, and the insurance said no, even though there's holes in it the size of baseball, at least 2 dozen. But that's insurance for you.
Yeah, you got to deal with that, and gonna go. Takes forever to deal with it. And then, are you dealing with FEMA at all on any of the claims, or is it all straight through insurance? If you don't mind me asking.
We're done with FEMA. The only thing FEMA did was give $750. That's it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know we talked about that before.
Offered us offered us a place to stay though for 28 days, which was very nice. However, it was the Roach Motel down the road that only hookers stay at an hour. I'm not joking about that.
Oh man.
Literally, it's the nastiest place in town. Like, guaranteed to bring bed bugs home. It's gross, dude. It's
Yeah, no,
I would live in a tent out of the interstate before I stayed there.
That's
It's
crazy.
bad.
But were there other people there though that were maybe like also displaced? Because I'd imagine like maybe normally it's that way, but maybe after the hurricane it kind of takes a pause, I guess.
I will be honest with you. I'm not walking in there and ask.
I don't blame you.
Because things will jump on me when I walk in the door. I'm not going in there.
I get that.
I'm not trying to be vain or anything. This place is really bad.
No, I get it. I completely get it. Let me ask you, what do you think about
But
these?
we didn't have water for weeks and stuff, and,
Oh wow.
and but anyway, what do I think about what?
The federal judge doing these restrictions. I want to jump in and talk a little bit about
I
that.
don't think a federal judge should be able to shut down a mandate from the president of the United States of America.
Interesting. Hold on one second.
I don't.
Don't you think there's a little bit of a checks and balance that has to go on there though? Like, let's say, because I guess,
Of course, yeah.
What if there's a patently unconstitutional, like executive order, for example, that gets put in place, right? I know it's hypothetical.
Well, I think there's only been one of those. Yeah, I think there's only been one of those so far, and it was shut down. But
are you talking about the birthright?
And that's
one,
what Congress is kind of. I am, yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that was unconstitutional. But other than that, he's doing some stupid stuff like this Gulf of America dumb crap. That was the dumbest thing I have ever seen in my entire life. I literally made fun of him on my live stream about it, and I'm an open Trump supporter. Like, I made fun of him about it. That was so dumb. Like, why? And then you talk about how we've got to save money, cut money from this, that, and the other. And then you make a big deal about flying over the Gulf of Mexico to sign the international. You big dummy.
This is kind of the issue, though, right? Is I think that there are certain policy positions. So there is I'm going to call it the Project 2025 track, just for sake of lack of a better word. There's the Project 2025 track, which is all the actual policies that we're seeing come into play. And then there is the actual, like, Trump policies, which are the ones we're seeing, like the Gulf of America, and the one about, like, for example, the him wanting to take over Canada or Greenland or Mexico. None of that is mentioned in Project 2025 whatsoever.
They're not really using Canada. I mean, it could be the 51st state. They're not really using. I'm just teasing. I
know. I was going to say,
teasing.
I'm sure I put a comment on Twitter saying Puerto Rico called and they'd like to become the 51st state. Then poor Puerto Rico has been trying to.
They would probably.
Yeah.
Maybe we would actually help them when they flooded. I mean, if they were the 51st state.
Well, that's the thing too, right? Is that, like, under the Trump administration, they didn't. Now, I know that there was some nuance there a little bit, but they didn't really get a whole lot of assistance. They ended up getting paper towels thrown at them.
Oh.
So.
That's true. And that was a very sad situation. I have a friend that lives in Puerto Rico, and that makes me very upset. And they still supported Trump with this second election. Still.
That's the crazy thing about it, is we're seeing a lot of people who really, quite frankly, voted against their best interest. And there's two groups that I'm specifically referring to. Latinos and Muslims. Or not Muslims, I shouldn't say that. I should say more pro-Palestinian crowds. The pro-Palestinian crowd.
You know why?
Which one?
You know why? Because he got shot at. That's why.
Yeah. Well,
they look at him like a badass.
Right. I mean, that, and there is that. I think there could be some other things at play. I think also the economy. I mean, we can go down the laundry list of reasons why, but I think it's pretty crazy.
He's rich. He's gonna make us rich.
Absolutely, right? Make us rich. I mean, and meanwhile, the eggs are going up. Meanwhile, he wants to get rid of a penny so that inflation can go up by a dime now instead of a penny.
We should get rid of the penny.
The
penny's stupid. It costs 4 cents to make the penny.
Yeah, but then again, now you're gonna have now, instead of having the well, I guess you could get rid of the 99-cent deal now and it'll just be the 90-cent deal. I don't know. I just think it's silly to me. Like I said,
that's true. Or they could round up to $1. I mean,
they could. They could round up to $1. And I always thought that was so odd when they do those little marketing gimmicks. Hey, it's 99 cents. It's like when I've seen those Costco. Have you seen those Costco tricks they do? Where they're like, if it's 95 cents, it's actually going to be going out of stock.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. Just tell us it's going to go out of stock. Man.
Right. Don't make us search tags. Come on.
Yeah, this stuff is crazy to me. And I kind of feel like a little bit like we're living in a Donald Trump reality show in a lot of ways. I just don't know what's going on from one day to the next.
Who did he tweet to that they were fired? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I think I have a little lag.
We have a little lag.
Who did he tweet to that they were fired the other day?
I don't.
He tweeted to somebody that they were fired the other day. I'm trying to remember who it was.
Let's see.
He was like, "You're fired." I was like, "Oh, he did not do that." Because if so, I'm going to need him to check into a home or something. Because he's going back 20 years.
That's the crazy thing about it is they did this with Mitch McConnell. I saw tweets all over the place about how Mitch McConnell is 82 years old. I'm like, y'all realize Donald Trump is 78 years, going on 79. Like, now, granted, he's not falling down stairs or nothing like that. At least not yet. And so,
right.
Let me see here where Trump says.
Mitch McConnell looks like a turtle. I had to say it. He does. He looks like a turtle.
And he's had some bad moments. He's had some good moments where he may have not realized who he voted for. But, I'll take what we can get. Let me see here. You're fired. I think it might have been like Kamala or something like that.
No, I don't think so. Was it Joe Biden? It was Joe Biden.
Okay,
he was talking about Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah, right here. February 7th. Joe, you're fired. There's no need for Joe Biden to continue receiving... Oh, this is the classified information thing. It said there's no need for Joe Biden to continue receiving access to classified information. Therefore, we are immediately revoking Joe Biden's security clearances, thus not allowing him to get security briefings. I don't think Joe cares. I'm sorry. I think Joe is like, look, I'm done with this politics thing. He looked annoyed when he was up there with the during the debate. I think he's just ready to retire. He's like, bro, I'm just trying to enjoy my time I got,
I'm going to tell you, though, I think that was a really messed up thing to do because he was just the sitting president a couple of weeks ago. He deserves to get updates still. So to do that, I think was really messed up. And he did it just out of spite. And that's really wrong.
It's very vindictive. It's very, very vindictive. And again,
well, he has been vindictive since he walked through the door.
Right. And I think that's a big issue. I mean, we saw this, for example, where, and I have a few stories ready to go, but it's about with Eric Adams and things like that. We're seeing a lot of things. There's rumors of a loyalty test going on out there. We're seeing that Donald Trump wants to try to push through Schedule F, which if anybody's unaware of what Schedule F is, Schedule F is basically where certain federal employees, and the big question is which employees would be considered, they would be considered political appointees, which means that Donald Trump could fire them for not being loyal, for example. It's at will. And so the big question is what would that
Surely that's not legal, is it?
That's the question. He tried to implement this in his first administration. I believe it was challenged, but it didn't really go nowhere that I can recall. I'd have to look again. It's been a little bit, but he did try. I believe he did have it ready to go, or he did do. I'll have to look more into it, but he definitely had it ready to go for the executive order. Yeah, it's called Schedule F.
If he did that, I would be so disappointed because I really do like Trump. I like what he's doing. He's doing some great things. Like with the border, I have no complaints there with what he's doing. I think he's doing a good thing there. But like some stuff is just like wild and out there. Like,
well, and
like
again,
the Gaza Strip and stuff. Why are we sticking our nose in that? Get out of that. It's 100%. None of our business.
But that's the thing too, right? Is it's like he ran on America First, and all I have heard over the past 3 weeks has been everything but America. Matter of fact, I've heard very little on grocery prices. I've heard very little on anything going on with this. There's been a few outbreaks of certain diseases that are part due to the eggs, due also to humans. Tuberculosis, for example, has gone up in some cases. But the thing is he's put a seal on CDC and I believe a few other organizations that handle a lot of that stuff. FDA, I think, to not be able to put out any new researches, no real press releases or anything like that, just a cap on them for 90 days. So
He's also made it to where they can't be audited. They kind of have an unlimited budget right now. They
right.
did you see that
I
where
think I did see that.
he told Elon to leave them alone?
There was like
Leave them alone.
yeah, there was like a federal funding freeze or something like that. Is that the one you're referring to?
Yes, because that was Elon's next target was the CDC, and he was like, "Look, we're going to handle the CDC." He's like, "Because I want to stop censorship." He's like, "But right now, leave them go, and leave the FDA alone too."
Right.
So,
and I think they're really waiting until RFK Jr. gets into there and starts doing whatever he does. What I will say is that
that's scary. That's scary.
this is the thing is what
RFK Jr.
Yeah, what Tron said in the chat is 100% correct, which is a lot of what we're seeing right now with these political appointments, in a lot of cases confirmations.
Please don't call names though, Helen. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're all right. The big issue that we have right now is these are very much loyalists. This is the thing about Trump right now is this administration is not like his last. His last administration, he worked off of, ironically, merit. Okay, he actually worked off of merit.
Mm-hmm.
The thing he's complaining about,
True,
he
yeah.
worked off of last time. But the problem is it was merit without loyalty. And I wouldn't even say. And this is the thing is, I've had to ponder this question because they're like, Doghouse, don't you want them to be loyal? Yes, but I think using loyal is probably not the correct word. And in fact, loyalists are.
Well, they're going to be loyal to an extent, right? You know, he picked them, so they're going to be loyal to an extent. But you don't want them to be like addicted to every word he says. You want them to have a mind of their own.
And you have to
be able to think for themselves and stand up to him if something's not right and go, "No, sir, I'm sorry, I cannot do that. It's against the law."
Exactly. But that comes
or
down
it's
to
against the Constitution. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's what I was just about to say, Tron. Yeah, no, Tron hit it right on the head. Loyalty to the Constitution over Trump. And
exactly.
That's the key right there. Is where does your allegiance lie? If Donald Trump says jump, do you jump 10 feet? That's the question. And that's where I have a lot of an issue. And like I said, anybody who's ever watched me knows I voted for Romney in 12. I voted for Trump in 16, Cruz in 18, and Trump in 20. And I think
you voted for Trump twice. Who are you? Have I met you? I'm so confused with life right now.
Right. I voted for Trump.
You voted for Trump twice?
I voted for him in 20. And the reason why was because at that time, and this is where I look back and I'm embarrassed to say that I did. In 20, I felt like, and I think the reason why was because the illusion of those people holding him back gave off the illusion that he was being unfairly messed with. And so when I would go through and I'd do debates and stuff like that and argue, and I have to go look back at some of these videos too to see just how embarrassing it is. I was doing then what a lot of MAGA are doing now. And what a lot of MAGA are doing now is they're always finding some kind of an excuse. And it's kind of like that argument that lawyers make where if you don't, there's a saying that's out there. Ask a question. If you don't know the question, then bang the table or something like that. You might know what I'm referring to. But anyways, it was that kind of a thing where if you run out of options, it's a negotiation tactic. It's it's Trump being Trump. Come on, he's being hyperbolic. But that excuse runs out pretty quickly, right? So
it does, yeah.
So that's why this time around I voted for Kamala Harris, and that was, I think the real crack in my belief was really J6. It made me realize that there was kind of a dividing line where I realized I'm really supporting this behavior, and I was noticing a lot of people on the MAGA side really leaning into that and supporting that. And I'm like, hey, look, let's call a spade if we're being consistent. And something I was very proud about was I was like, look, I'm going to read the facts. I'm going to let those facts guide me to where they may be. And wrong is wrong. I'm principled in that way. and I noticed that the same party that
Mhm.
I thought was principled, which clearly was very misguided, clearly wasn't
Right.
principled, and it was becoming very much of a cult of personality, and I did not like that. And it slowly changed as well. When I'd get into online debates, and I would also just watch how the climate was changing, a lot of people would sit there and look at me, and when I would hold the opinion of a leftist, right, for example, like it could be gun rights, and I could be like, hey, I think, I think having certain limitations are okay. I get called a communist. I get called a Marxist. I'm like, bro, I'm on your side. So I finally leaned into it and I said, okay, I think this is the moment where I realized I didn't necessarily leave the right. The right left me. They went off to their own corner, and I'm standing on the island that I had always stood on going, where did everybody go?
Mhm.
And that's why I'm now a
And
liberal.
you're not the only one that I've heard. You're not the only one I've heard say that the right left me,
Yeah.
that they abandon everything that they said. Um, you're not the third or fourth one I've heard say that. Um,
That,
because they're kind of completely different than they were 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago.
I
Um,
mean, just think
and
about
I'm a registered Democrat. I just vote for whoever I think the best person is. And to me, this election, there wasn't a good choice because Kamala, I just thought was a bumbling idiot. Um, but I didn't know who I was actually going to vote for when I went in. I was just like, well, at least he'll run it like a business. We'll go there. So
Yeah, no, I get it.
I felt like there was no good choice there.
And I think it's a good thing for me to
Tron,
kind of,
that's a good question.
yeah, when Trump gives the order to the military last time, do they tell him no? Well, who's in charge of the military? I mean,
Yeah, he's the president in chief of the United States Armed Forces.
and you got Pete Hegseth right there. And I have my qualms about that.
Now, I
Pete,
like Pete Hegseth.
oh,
Oh, I love Pete. I love Pete. I think he's fantastic. I love Pete.
the
Love him.
the
Love him. Love him. I have no complaints about Pete.
the thing about Pete for me
I
that
see your face. I see your face. You think I ain't looking at the
I
stream? I
know
see your
you
face.
are. It's okay. No, look, I think the thing for me with Pete Hegseth is he's treating the office too much like a news show. And I mean I get it.
He is not.
I think because look
You just want to think that, but he's not.
no, I think this is what I think. I think that he is the Trump of the DOD, right? And what I mean by that is that he's coming in and he's got, he's got military experience. But if you look at previous DODs, they typically have like they've worked in the Pentagon, they've worked their way up. This was just literally the next step, right? Like they were like a four-star general or whatever. This was their next step. Pete didn't really have that. He was the outsider. I wouldn't consider him qualified, just based on that. I think there was a million other people you could have probably gone with that were 4-star generals that would have been good. But I understand how Donald Trump feels about those same 4-star generals. We saw how he went after Milley,
Right.
and all those other ones. So I get it. But at the same time, that's kind of my qualm with Pete Hegseth is I think that he's still coming off of that Fox News, I guess, high, if you will. And I watched an interview with him down at the border with Tom Homan, and his demeanor is still that of a news anchor, which is fine. Dude was doing news anchor stuff for the past 6 years. I get it. It's not something just to like take out of your bones, so to speak, but that's something I think for him that I think it could come off, at least to me it does, unprofessional. I think that he needs to be very careful with the words that he says, that he has to understand that he's not on a Fox News he does do Fox News interviews still. He's not on there to give an opinion that he feels. He's giving an opinion on the behalf of the United States.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. But let's talk about the real problem.
Sure.
Elon Musk. He slipped up the other day, and I was team Elon until his little slip up the other day,
What happened? What was the slip up?
which was he slipped up and said, when he was walking into, I think it was USAID, and he said, I have to cut enough off the budget that will cover my Mars walk.
Yep.
And I got so upset that I got so mad I started crying. Like that's the only reason why you're doing this. It's not your love of country. It's not your love of the people. It's not, all this stuff that you claimed.
Yep.
It is very selfish. It is for your business. That's all it is. So however billions of dollars you got to cut off the budget, that's what you're aiming for. That's all it is. It's very inward focused. And I got very, very mad at him, very upset. I want him gone now. I'm just done with him at this point.
You and me both. Let me tell you, I think for me, the issue with Elon Musk is, I mentioned this earlier, he's going in there doing a audit. Anybody who's worked in accounting knows. You don't do an audit within 2 weeks. That's just not going to happen, especially a government of that size. And the issue is...
you're right. And why are we only seeing the things that they think we're going to think is negative? How come we're not seeing the, this is where they dug a well, and why are we not seeing the, this is where they gave food to the children of Uganda, because I know for a fact they did that. I had a friend that worked on that project. And this is where they spent 3 weeks in Uganda giving them 3 meals a day every day. Why are we not seeing those records? I want to see all the records. You talk about transparency. Let's be transparent. Let's see them all. Where are they?
And that's the thing, too.
No, you're seeing the things that we're going to think are negative. That's it. That's all we're seeing.
Yep. And that's how it's going to be. No, you're good. Go off. Go off. Because this is the biggest thing is I feel like, and I want to make this clear because I think it's a good point. One of the things I'm big on is levying the accusation of MAGA. If I call you MAGA, I'm using it as a pejorative. Now, I want to be very clear what I mean by this. Understand this. I hold MAGA to a very high regard, or not high regard. I use it in a very limited use, and I try to make sure that I assess the person's values, right? For example, my parents still view Donald Trump in the 2016 Trump light. They also are not highly involved in politics. They turn on Fox News, they go about their day, they say a few choice words about the libs, and then they go on. They're not MAGA. They definitely support Trump, get that, but I'm not going to go screaming at the sky about it, right? And I'll tell you what, by the way.
I bet family dinners are so much fun.
Let me tell you, okay? When I came out as liberal, I swear it felt like, it was a very, I won't forget when my TikTok made its way to my...
Interesting conversation, wasn't it?
Right. The TikTok made its way to my dad's phone, and I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. I'm going to have to explain this one. Grew up conservative my entire life. Bashing Obama, bashing, Hillary, all of that. And, having to come out to my family that I was now supporting Kamala Harris was probably extremely awkward. And my family is not very deep South, but my wife's family has a little bit of deep South in them. And so it terrified me. I'm like, I'm about to be completely pushed away. No, it was actually really good, though. My parents were very supportive. But it was very, very, very awkward. And especially because of the fact that, like, my TikToks... Listen, I'm gonna spoil a little few things for you guys, okay? My TikToks are amped up, yes, because that's the entertainment value, okay? I have to be a little bit... I will still say this. I hold every single thing I say in there as true, but they're a little bit energetic. They're a little bit crazy, right? And they're very short, 1 minute. So I don't have 3 minutes to explain every little thing.
Listen, y'all, I have told him to calm down a little bit. I've told him he's got to calm down a little bit.
Because here's the thing.
So that's why he's trying to chill out.
I'm trying. I think one of the things that people have to understand is that when you're doing shorts or TikTok, you have about maybe 2 seconds, if you're lucky, to draw somebody in. So you have to kind of do a
you're right.
quick snap, and then you draw somebody in, and then you can give them some information. But what I'm saying by that is that when my parents, they saw the videos, I'm like, I have to explain to them how online works because they don't know. They don't know how online politics works. If you watch me debate somebody, you're probably going, oh my God, what does he think about me? Online debates are so different.
Right.
So I had to go and tell my parents about the whole online thing. It was great. And it was definitely kind of an awkward experience. But what I'm trying to get back to the point of what I was trying to say, my parents.
I'm sorry, I have to go. My mom's calling. I'm
okay.
sorry.
No,
All
not
right,
a
bye.
problem, Miss Mandy. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. All right, y'all. That was Miss Mandy. Y'all, huge shout out to Miss Mandy. Please do me a absolute huge favor. Go follow Miss Mandy. She is doing so much work. It is unreal. We are working on some big things in the future. Also, our editor, Tron, is down there. Give that man a follower. Try to, shout him out. Give him some love, all right? So let's get back to the topic of the story. But listen, I'll tell you guys this before we get moving on. I want to kind of wrap up what I was saying about MAGA. If you're in chat and you're like, hey, man, I voted for Trump, I'm not going to call you MAGA inherently, okay? You are somebody who voted for Trump. You might have some misguided views. That's okay. MAGA to me means that you cannot find any wrongdoings with Trump. And you may sit there and look at me in the mirror and go, no, Doghouse, I think that Trump handled, I'm going to say some TikTok words, okay? Because TikTok's very sensitive. I didn't support C-19. Well, doesn't mean that I'm talking, I kind of do this. This is my litmus test. How do you feel about J6? How do you feel about the Gaza thing now? I'm going to add that one to the list. And how can you name 5 pieces of legislation that you disagreed with? It's a big, tall order to ask. But if you're not able to do any of those, you might be MAGA. And why I use those as a litmus test and kind of a check is because I want to see where you stand. Are you someone that absolutely supports Donald Trump through and through? And that you will find a way to pretzel, that no matter what he does, you will always find an excuse. That is MAGA. If you're somebody who's like, no, look, like we just had Miss Mandy in here, and she was like, hey, what Elon's doing, I'm not in favor of. I don't think Miss Mandy's MAGA. I don't think she is. Right? That to me was a big revealing sign. There are a lot of people right now, a lot of people that are defending what's going on with Elon Musk. And that's where we have an issue. So we'll now use the Elon Musk point to go back to the stories. So let's get back to the news and go into the next story here. Speaking of federal judges, a federal judge in New Hampshire has granted yet another injunction against President Trump's birthright citizenship order. The judge, a George W. Bush appointee, a George W. Bush appointed judge, says he'll issue a written order tomorrow on this, but in the meantime had a praise for both sides of the case. I'm not persuaded by the government's arguments on this motion. I'm not offended by them either as a lawyer or a jurist. A George W. Bush appointee said, not so quite. Not so quite. And I get what Donald Trump's trying to do. They're trying to push this all the way to the Supreme Court. Here's the problem. This is foundationally a constitutional right. This is even more foundational than Roe v. Wade. There's no legal question about the right to privacy in any of this. It is black and white founded precedent. Okay? There's no need to go over there and look into, and you're probably going to sit there and say, Doghouse, well, what about the Native Americans? Well, guess what? In that ruling, it addresses just that. I believe it was in that ruling. It might have been another one. That Native Americans were determined not to be U.S. citizens because of the fact that they were part of their own tribal nation. They were under a completely different jurisdiction. Think about this. When you go to a tribal land, if you're ever allowed over there, and I think there's some out there, there is a whole nother set of laws and rules and everything else under that tribal land. It's completely separate. It's under a whole different jurisdiction. So yes, and here is another one. The federal judge has determined that the Trump administration is violating its order lifting the blanket spending freeze. So what's happening right now is the Trump administration was supposed to provide funding for these federal grant programs. But Elon's not done with his audit. So what's happening? They're just defying the order. They're not going to do it. So now we got some other small little piecemeal stories. This one here, Donald Trump said there's a light over the U.S. The approval ratings for this country have gone through the sky. There's a light long beyond this country, all over the world. I've been called by other leaders who say, sir, there's a light over our country right now. Don't know where he's getting that from. Canada has been booing us. Mexico has been upset with us. The Colombian president. The Colombian president has had some choice words with Donald Trump. It has been a disaster on the world stage. And then we have here on that same day, Burgum says they're contacting providers such as Apple Maps and Google Maps to update their systems to display the Gulf of America. The Gulf of America, guys. Listen, don't worry. We got the eggs under control, guys. We're going to worry about the Gulf of America. We want to be proud because guess what? We're in North America and South America, so it's not actually unique to the United States. It's the Gulf of America. And lo and behold, guys, it is official. Here's the new Gulf of America on Google Maps. Ta-da! Of all the things that we could be concerned about, this is definitely number one. This is definitely number one, guys. Oh, say, can you see by the Gulf of America? This is ridiculous. And what I said in here, which is very true, we saw this with Facebook, is that big tech is only doing Donald Trump's bidding because they know Donald Trump is going after Section 230. Google changing the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America is just a glaring example of big tech kissing the ring. And it is absolutely true. Facebook did it, and now Google's doing it. Because they now know the game. They know how it goes. But this is a problem. They know how this game works. They know that if you're nice to Donald Trump and you do what Donald Trump says, don't worry, no consequences are coming to you. We're still going to get to that with Mayor Eric Adams. But that's why Google did this. That's why Apple's doing this. Because they're hoping, and keep in mind, you might say, well, why would they go after Section 2? Because it's in Project 2025. Under Brendan Carr's chapter of Project 2025, in FCC chapter, it mentions going after Section 230. There's going to be more tech companies that are going to do exactly this crazy bidding. But this is bad. We do not want to see where tech companies, or quite frankly, a lot of other private organizations are only doing this to survive. Is that how we want to work in this? An oligarchy? A monarchy? Whatever archy you want to call it? Garth said, I'll never call it that. Quite frankly, neither will I. I'm going to call it Gulf of Mexico. And in this news, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Do y'all see what's on this goat? I don't know if y'all can see it. It's this right here. It's a bunch of Trump 100s. It's a bizarre golden hoofed goat idol. It's okay, guys. It's okay. That's not freaky. Wrapped in Trump $100 bills, it says, "In Trump we trust," replacing with "In God we trust." It's okay. In other news, we have Texas doing Texas things. We already saw Oklahoma put Bibles back into classrooms. They are now, I believe, doing prayer, I think is one of the ones. Well, Texas is now doing the 10 Commandments in all schools. Yeah, you moon. Rapid denial of money equals super Christian. And let's just ignore the fact of them replacing "in God we trust" with "in Trump we trust." Super Christian, huh? Super Christian. And they also introduced Senate Bill 11, which would allow students with parental consent to opt into a period of prayer and the reading of the Bible or other religious texts. I think this is interesting to me because this can go completely the different way than Republicans are hoping they go, especially in very Christian conservative Texas. Okay. This would absolutely change, and the only reason they're saying "or other religious texts" and opting into is because they would not be able to get away with it if it said they were forced to pray. But it opens it up to where the teacher can then do not very aligned prayers. We also had this from Kid Rock. I think it's hysterical. Or basically, I won't play the entire thing. It's really long and boring. Basically, Kid Rock had a meltdown. Remember the nice Christian the nice conservative Kid Rock, the one that says "F you, you liberals," right? All that, yeah. Kid Rock had a meltdown on stage after the audience didn't clap enough. Audience wasn't clapping. I'll let you watch a little bit. Watch.
You ain't gonna clap, we gonna sing. That's how it's gonna work.
And then here's a little bit of outburst.
Fuck no, you ain't gonna clap, I'm going.
Walked off. Walked off like a big old baby. Here's the great one. Do you view J.D. Vance as your successor? And Trump said no. So let's talk about this one. Donald Trump doesn't view J.D. Vance as his successor because I believe that he is looking at J.D. Vance as his competition. This is a theory I've got going on. You guys work with me, listen to me. I promise I'll connect the dots. Donald Trump doesn't view J.D. Vance as his successor, not because J.D. Vance is somehow uniquely unqualified, although it is interesting that 3 weeks into his administration, he's already mentioning or undermining his VP like he did with Pence. But it's because of this right here. Trump jokes about running for a third term in speech to House Republicans. It's not the first time the president has publicly mused about seeking another 4 years. And you may be thinking, doghouse, it's just a joke. Except here's the thing. I don't have it up here. Here's the thing. Andy Ogles has already put forth an amendment to allow for Donald Trump to serve for an additional term. Now, keep in mind, at that time, Donald Trump would be 82 years old, and should he be elected on that third term, and should the amendment get passed, which it won't, then Donald Trump would be 86 years old by the end of his second term. Yeah. And they complain about Mitch McConnell and term limits. Yeah. Term limits. Term limits for Congress, but not for the president. So, this is just another stretch by power. Supreme Court randomly removed the not in requirement that would keep the... Why would they keep the number the third? Yeah, I don't know. So, the other one by Benny Johnson here said, President Trump orders the Treasury to stop producing the penny. Let's rip the waste out of our great nation's budget, even if it's a penny at a time. Now, me and Miss Mandy talked about this a little bit earlier, and you guys heard it. To me, I just think it's kind of crazy. I'm like, look, we've had a penny, and now I get it. I mean, look, even in a lot of like accounting organizations, a penny is so immaterial. I'm not even kidding you. I have had a check mailed to me for 1 penny. Not even kidding you. I think it was like cable company or something. All right, let's get into this one. This is a story I've been waiting for. I kind of like saved the best for last, and I probably should have brought it first. This just broke about an hour or two ago. Mayor Eric Adams, for anyone unaware, Eric Adams was being investigated for corruption, essentially. I believe bribery or something along those lines. This was reported by Colin Rugg and several other people, saying that the Trump DOJ is working to dismiss the criminal case against New York City Mayor Eric Adams. The development comes as Adams has been cordial with the new Trump administration, specifically with their fight against illegal immigration. Acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove reportedly instructed the Southern District of New York to drop the federal case against Adams and dismiss it without prejudice. That's important. Without prejudice means that they could still technically charge him again. See how that's tied in there? My guess is that there's probably some legal reasoning behind that, because with prejudice, you'd probably have to prove that. But the without prejudice, but it also is very important to mention as well that, hold on one second, guys. Tron, you're going to have to go in there and ban this guy. Oh, here we go. I got it. Okay. But the without prejudice is very important, because it could also mean that they are trying to keep things tight with Eric Adams, because if he steps out of line, they can bring those charges right back against him. So, back during the Trump transition, Adams received backlash, and I remember this happened a lot, about announcing his plan to work with the Trump administration against illegal immigration. He went as far to call on the Democrat Party to cancel him if they had an issue with his decision. Keep in mind, we also had, I can't remember the name of this Democratic senator who just got charged and found guilty. I believe found guilty. Goodness, I forgot his name. Can't remember his name. But anyways, he begged Trump for a pardon. Are we noticing a pattern here? And here's the DOJ order. We'll read through this a little bit. You are directed as authorized. This is all formality stuff. There shall be no further targeting of Mayor Adams or additional investigative steps prior to the review, and you are further directed to take all steps within your power to cause Mayor Adams' security clearances to be restored. The Justice Department has reached this conclusion without assessing the strength of the evidence or the legal theories on which the case is based, which are issues on which we defer to the U.S. Attorney's Office at this time. So bad. Moreover, as I said during our recent meetings, this directive in no way calls into question the integrity and efforts of the line prosecutors responsible for the case, or your efforts in leading those prosecutors in connection with the matter you inherited. However, the Justice Department has determined that dismissal subjected to the above described conditions is necessary for two independent reasons. All right, let's listen to those reasons. First, the timing of the charges and more recent public actions by the former U.S. attorney responsible for initiating the case have threatened the integrity of the proceedings, including by which increasing prejudicial pretrial publicity that risks impacting potential witnesses and the jury pool. It cannot be ignored that Mayor Adams criticized the prior administration's immigration policy before the charges were filed, and the former U.S. attorney's public actions created appearances of impropriety that implicate the concerns raised in Attorney General's February 5th, 2025 memorandum. Blah, blah, blah. These actions in the underlying case have also improperly interfered with Mayor Adams' campaign in the 2025 mayoral election. Second, the pending prosecution has unduly restricted Mayor Adams' ability to devote full attention and resources. Here, this is the real. Oh, yeah, I see that, Tron. I don't know what's going on with that. Let me see. Let me restart it. Hold on. There we go. Second, the pending prosecution has unduly restricted Mayor Adams' ability to devote full attention and resources to the illegal immigration and violent crime that escalated under the policies of the prior administration. Here's the real reason. We are particularly concerned about the impact of the prosecution of Mayor Adams' ability to support critical ongoing federal efforts to protect the American people from disastrous effects. This is an executive order, by the way. Okay. Ongoing federal efforts to, here we go. As American people from disastrous effects, as described in Executive Order 14-165. Accomplishing the immigration objectives established by President Trump and the Attorney General is every bit as important, if not more so, as the objectives that the prior administration pursued by releasing violent criminals such as Victor Bout. Here they go again with this. Accordingly, based on the additional concerns that are distinct from the weaponization problems, dismissal without prejudice is also necessary at this time. There you go, guys. Step in line, and that's all you need to do. Kiss the ring. And we'll look at this one. This will be the last one. Trump said, I don't think you can work from home. Nobody is going to work from home. They're going to be going out. They're going to play tennis. They're going to play golf. They're going to do a lot of things. They're not working. Guys, Art Candy down here says it tremendously. Who does this sound like? They're going to play golf. They're going to do a lot of things. They're not working. Donald Trump, this past weekend, went golfing. Went golfing, guys. Yeah. Donald Trump went golfing and now is complaining that you can't work from home. Well, if that's the case, Mr. President, it's probably best to, work in the office. I guess the argument would be that it's the weekend and, everybody's entitled to a vacation. So even though MAGA complained extensively about Joe Biden taking a record number of vacations, guys, I'm going to call it early. I think that Donald Trump is going to have a record number of vacations, record number of days golfing, and probably a record number of spending for golfing. Now, keep in mind, he's golfing at Mar-a-Lago, and we saw that happen last time in the last administration where he ended up benefiting. The Trump, I believe it was because the Secret Service or something like that had to stay the night and ended up charging the taxpayer some crazy amount because of the fact they had to stay in these rooms. It's crazy. So we're probably going to see the same thing here. We're going to see, spending go through the roof, record number of vacations, very little done. But we'll see how things go. But on that note, it has been great. Guys, we're going to be doing a lot more videos. Tron has been doing an amazing job putting out some videos. We're going to continue to put out some videos. Hopefully, Tron, I gave you enough content for today. I did a little bit of some, I think about 3 different topics. Some were just kind of piecemeal and whatever. But we're going to put some more videos out. I'm doing shorts. I'm doing TikToks. One of my TikToks yesterday went viral. Super excited about that. And we're doing shorts. I'm going to do some more React Andy kind of stuff and things of that nature. And y'all are more welcome to join the Discord. Please do. If you're watching this on YouTube, we're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Let's make that happen, guys. If you're on YouTube, hit that like, subscribe, notification bell, please. It would mean the world to me. Our numbers are great. I mean, they're not amazing, but they're great. And I think, it'd be really awesome. If you are on Twitter, make sure you hit that follow button. If you're on Twitch, hit the follow button. If you're on Kick, hit that follow button. What's going on, Judgment Free Zone? Man, you jumped in right as I'm about to conclude the stream. But good news, guys. I stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's where you can catch me. And I post daily TikToks. Daily. And I post them up to shorts as well. Also on Instagram. I am on every single platform that you can possibly imagine. Literally go to my link tree. It is insane. And I'm actually active on most of them except for Threads and Instagram. Instagram, I post a lot of shorts too. But I don't do anything other than that, really. Threads is like non-existent. Blue Sky, I'm on Blue Sky. We're everywhere, guys. We're everywhere. We're doing awesome I appreciate Miss Mandy, and guys, let's do this. We need more reasonable voices on the left. We need more vocal voices on the left. Okay, we need to support people like that. I know that there's people out there like Kyle Kalinske and others like that. There's Project Liberal out there that I want to do a shout out to. The owners are pretty cool, or founders at least. Sorry, pretty cool movement. All right, guys, but y'all take care. I'm gonna get off for now. Appreciate every one of you guys. I will see y'all Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on all 4 platforms.